All right. First of all, man, we're psyched to be out here. We're all from all over the place, from Los Angeles, San Diego, Phoenix. My name is Ries, and thank you guys. I worked for Circa Footwear. It's a professional skateboard company for the past 10 years, if any of you guys skate. But before I get into that, I want to let you guys know who we're rolling with. We got Sonny he's the lead singer of P.O.D, the band. And then we got Brian Welch originally from KoRn. And we got Melanie, which works with Lacey from Flyleaf. Give it up for her. I'll tell you this, me being on this stage and me hanging out with this crew of people, I have no idea. God put it together because I don't know how we could all end up together and be doing these whosoever events and concerts and stuff, because none of us really even knew each other, and God just put it together. I'll let you know a little bit about that later on. But before I get into this, I'm gonna let you know we did this thing called Exit Concerts out in Las Vegas. We did it in April. It was a huge concert. We had Flyleaf, Blindside, Head, we had the Metal Militia, and All or Nothing, and we had 18,000 people show up to this thing. We had a huge stadium out in Las Vegas. And that's what we're planning to try to do here is we want to come out and do a huge concert for you guys. But before we do that, we wanted to come out and let you guys know, young and old, our hearts. Because the way we look and the way we were was real crazy. But what God's done in our life, it just kind of threw us into a different direction. And now that's where we all came together, like-minded people in the group of the whosoevers. Because in the Bible it says, John 3:16, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Therefore, I am a whosoever, and you may all be whosoevers as well. And if you're not, you're going to have an opportunity. So I'll kick it off like this. I grew up, first of all, I hate religion. I still hate religion. And this night is not about religion, okay? This is going to be about a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, the one that saved me and all my homeboys. All right? I grew up in a church. My dad was actually a pastor. And me going to church, I didn't like school and I didn't like church. I hated it. And I got into looking at XXX magazines, pornography, porno and stuff when I was like 3rd grade. I got, smoking cigarettes. And at the first chance I got my hands on weed, I smoked it. And that was, when I was a freshman at that point in time. In high school, I got introduced to coke, ecstasy, acid, shrooms, uppers, downers, all around. I didn't really care, man. I just wanted to get my little party on. So my goal was, as I grew up, I didn't want nothing to do with church or nothing, man. I just wanted to get high, hook up with chicks, and live that lifestyle. So from that point on, that's what I pursued. I started, getting in the music industry, and I skated my whole life, surfed and stuff. And from that point on, I ended up hooking up with some chick, got her pregnant. We ended up getting 2 abortions in that relationship. She ended up leaving me. She started stripping. I was pretty scarred. At that point in time, I loved this chick, but she turned into this monster and just left me hanging. So I flipped the switch. I said, you know what? I threw my 2 middle fingers in the air and I said, F you, God, I want nothing to do with you. So at that point on, I just started partying harder. My goal was to go sleep with all kinds of girls. I didn't care. I wanted to use them like a piece of meat. So that's what I did. For the next 19 years, I just ended up getting hooked up with Circa Footwear through Chad Muska. I don't know if you guys heard of him. He's in the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game. He's a big skateboarder. Me and him, he brought me in to do all the marketing and team management for Circa Footwear when it started in '98. So at that point, my job was to build the team, infiltrate the music industry. And that means I used to work with Wu-Tang out here in the East Coast. We did a bunch of shoe collabs and like the Deftones, Limp Bizkit. We actually filmed on top of the 9/11, the World Trade Center, that video out here in New York. But I was going on tour with a lot of different bands, and I was just living this lifestyle, like Playboy Mansion, top models. I mean, just the stuff that I thought would make me happy. Getting high all the time, and my drug habit started to increase. Because my whole deal was I'd start drinking 3 beers, and all of a sudden I want to get a bag of blow and start doing lines till 4 in the morning or 6, and then pop a bunch of Xanax and pass out, wake up, and do it all over again every day. And for the last 19 years, I drank every single day, did blow probably like 5 times a week, and then it got to a point in my life where I just started taking tons of drugs and still traveling. I just knew exactly what to take and what I needed to take in the morning so I could function, so I can get the whole skateboard crew up, the 15 of us on tour, and go to the next country. I traveled 9 months out of the year. I went to every country around the world. I've literally done laps around this earth many times. And it got to a point where I had everything, man. I had money. I had all access to women. Well, those are the only things I wanted, women and money and success. And those are the 3 things I cared about. I had all that. And like I said, my drug habits started increasing. It got to a point where I knew every drug dealer. I knew everyone that ran every hot club from LA to Orange County. And we would, I would my friends would just give me big bags of blow, bottles of GHB. So I was snorting coke, doing GHB, because GHB makes you kind of pass out, and then you do lines that get you up. And I'm doing this, drinking booze, and just popping pills to go to sleep. And I'm laying in my bed sometimes with my heart pounding out of my chest. It's like, and I'm just like, you know what, man? I'm like, I'm going to die tonight. And I felt like I was going to die so many times laying in my bed. And at that point, I should have been like, you know what, God? Save me. But instead, I was just like, you know what? These are the cards I dealt myself. If I die and I go to hell and burn, then these are the cards that I dealt myself, so I'll take it. So I continue living that lifestyle. I OD'd once. I almost OD'd, I don't know how many other times. I've had friends OD and die. I've had I've had a friend OD. We had to throw him in the shower, throw water on him, the whole kit till he revived. I mean, it just started getting dirty and nasty. And I started, this is how gnarly it got. I got, my friend dropped off 60 hits of ecstasy at my house one time on like a big holiday, Labor Day. I called all my homeboys over. I said, come over, dude, I got hits of X for days. We started popping them. I ended up doing 15 that day. One of the other guy, my friend that's now a youth pastor at our church, he did 15 as well. And the next day we went to sleep, and I woke up in the middle of the night being pulled into my bed, felt like I was getting choked out. I couldn't talk. I looked up, and there was a black shadow in my rooftop. And it jumped across my room like 3 times and 3 more times at me, and it came back 3 times in a row. I remember what it looked like. It had like long hair, like big claws, and it was like kind of hunched over. And it was a demon, because I read the Bible, and I believe in good angels and bad angels. So obviously that was demonic activity in my room. And at that point in time, I still didn't care. I kept moving on, partying, sleeping with girls, living that lifestyle. And then all of a sudden, coke wasn't going to do it for me, and ecstasy and GHB and all this stuff. So I was like, you know what? My friends started doing heroin, so I got into heroin. I started smoking heroin, start smoking coke. Then I'm like, what's the next step? So I start slamming coke. I start slamming heroin. And my life is just like, it's just crazy. I wasn't a junkie sitting in my room. I'm doing all this stuff while I'm traveling the world. I'm getting it in each spot. I'm popping Xanax to keep me level, drinking booze when it gets to, before I feel like the seams are going to come apart. And I'm doing all these things. And I got this broken down to a science to survive. And I'm empty. And I want to go sober for 3 years. But I continue living this lifestyle because it's the only thing that I know. And I'm stuck traveling the world doing this. So now, if you've ever been to Central America, or if you know about drugs, cocaine, that's where it comes from, Colombia. I'm right next to Colombia. So what do? I got purest cocaine. It's cheap as heck. I buy tons of it. I start snorting like crazy, popping Xanax to stay level-headed, which I thought level-headed, but I was completely out of my mind. And I'm doing this. I find myself in my hotel room. I'm in Panama City, and I'm sitting there analyzing my life. I'm going, all right, I pursued money, women, I'm getting high because I want to feel good, booze, all this stuff, and I'm sitting there going, I almost died, my friends are dying, I've had this demonic activity, I'm like, what's life? I spent 19 years running this circle, and this is what they paint on TV and stuff, like this is what you want, and I had that all. Everything I wanted, I had. And I was sitting in my hotel room saying, there has to be more in life than this. I have all this stuff. I have no peace in my life. I'm a nervous wreck, man. I'm just like, I'm drinking booze to turn my mind off in the morning because I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, from the outside, I look like I had it all together. That guy has money. Yeah, he owns a house. He has his cars, motorcycles, this, that, women, And from the outside, I look like it was all together. But on the inside, I had no peace in my life. I was miserable, But I hid it good because I would drink and party and stuff. And I was sitting in my hotel room and analyzing my whole life. And I said, you know what, man? I said, God, if you're real, because I grew up in a church and that was just like religion to me. It was my parents had they got their little church on and all their friends and they're all walking around all happy and whatever. And I wasn't into that, man. I like crazy stuff. I grew up liking crazy stuff. And I said, you know what, God? I said, if you're real, then you need to make yourself real to me tonight because I don't believe in you. I don't believe you're real. And I got down on my knees in my hotel room and I said, God, come into my life, forgive me for all my sins there, Father, Lord, because if you're real, you need to come to my life and you need to change me because I don't know any other way. This is the only thing I know is acting like this, going out and being like this. So at that point in time, I found a Bible. They have Bibles in the hotel room. They're called Gideon Bibles. And they're in every hotel. We used to pull out the paper and roll joints with them. They have the paper in the back. And that's how I remember they had them. So I got it. And I put it next to my bed. I went down to the team. I said, you know what, man? I said, I'm done with this crap, man. I'm changing my life. I can't live like this no more. I'm like, I got a drug and alcohol problem. And for me to say something like that is crazy. And that was the hardest thing for me to admit is that I had a problem, because I hid it so well for so many years. So I told them, I said, I'm going to rehab, man. I'm going to get clean, and then I'll get back on the road with you guys. They're like, cool, because they knew I was getting crazier in my older age, the more stuff. I mean, one of the writers, Adrian Lopez, found me in my room, a bunch of blood all over my face, passed out. He thought I was dead. So he knew I was getting sketchy. So what happens, I came back to the hotel. We were leaving the next day to Panama City. And I'll tell you this, I wasn't even sober before that trip for a month and a half at all. So that was the first time me being sober in about a month and a half. I stole that Bible from the hotel. I jumped on a plane. I read it from LAX or from Panama City, San Juan, all the way to Los Angeles. I read it for 6 hours straight. I never read the Bible in my life. I read it for 6 hours straight. I landed, and my whole life was upside down. I was like, I'm quitting my job. I admitted I got a drug and alcohol problem. I don't even know what I'm going to do. But after reading the Bible for 6 hours, I just felt this peace in my life. And for some reason, I knew everything was going to be okay. And I didn't even know why. I'm like, my whole life is upside down. So what happened was I went home, and I went to bed that night. And I slept. I woke up in the morning, and all of a sudden, I heard this song in my head. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in him. And it was his voice. And it kept saying it over and over and over. And I was tripping. I was like, what is that? I'm like, I haven't heard that since I was like in first grade or something in like Sunday school. So I called my dad. I said, hey, Dad. I said, dude, I keep hearing this voice in my head. It's saying, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in him. And it's playing over and over. He's like, Ryan, that's the Holy Spirit, man. That's God talking to you. He's like, what you need to do is you need to get a Bible and you need to get in church and see what God wants to say to you. So at that point in time, I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to rehab. I got to figure this out. So I went down and told my job. I said, got a drug and alcohol problem. I got to go square it away, and I'll come back and hook up with you guys. Because I've been there since the beginning, since it started. And what happened was, instead of going to rehab, I drove up to my dad's church, and I was like, hey, let me just hang out with you guys and figure out what rehab I'm going to go to. And at that point in time, I'm like listening to Bible study tapes. I started reading, started going to church, and all of a sudden I forgot all about rehab. I never had no shakes. I never went through any kind of drug withdrawals. It's been 2 years now, next month. I haven't touched any drugs, alcohol, nothing. And I'm going to tell you right now, that ain't me. Because I want to get high and I want to party. But God, the power of Jesus Christ, he's the only one that could do it, man. If you guys know me, I'm sorry, man, I get emotional because I'm a changed man now. I mean, Sonny and these guys, they met me right when I came out of it, or about a year later, and what has happened to me, and the way I was, and the way what God has done in my life, and came in and changed my mind and my heart, and he's just changed me, and it's nothing that you could work for. You can't try to change yourself, because you're man and you're sinful and you want to get crazy, you want to get sketchy, and the only thing that can change you is God. He could come in, he does it. You don't even know what's going on. It's like he just comes down with like sandpaper and like starts sanding off all the rough edges off you. Because I'm rough as heck. I almost cussed from the pulpit the other day on accident. I was talking about Satan. I was like, Satan's a punk, man. And I'm like, I don't give a, and I was like, oops. So it was, it was cool. But you know what, man? What it comes down to is at that point, God comes in and he comes in and he changes you. And I just want to say this, because the church, to me, sometimes it's like you got to live in this box. And I don't believe in that box. I believe that Jesus created you, everyone different and individual, and to use your gifts for whatever it is. Like Josh back there, he's doing like some insane looking art, and he doesn't have to draw stuff of crosses and Jesus. He can use his gifts for whatever God's laying on his heart. And that's just like the way you dress, whatever music you listen to. It's what's in your heart. It's not your outward appearance. And that's the thing, is we want to come here and let you guys know the vision of our heart. You can clap for that, because that's the truth, man. We all look, kind of crazy. And if you knew me, I was really crazy. But now it's like God has changed us, man, and we are different, and our goal is to share our testimonies. You think that I like talking about me slamming heroin and doing all this stuff, sleeping with all these girls? That's not helping me. That's very humiliating and embarrassing, but I feel that I want to be transparent to you, because I want to be the real deal. I don't want to hide anything. I don't want someone to say, I don't want someone to come to me. I don't want it to be fake, man, because I'm not a fake. I'm the real deal, man. And as crazy as I was in the world and how I live my life, that's what I'm doing for God now. And I'm representing God, and I fall short every day. Like, you can't keep your eyes on man, because we suck. We fall on our faces every day. We're useless. But with God coming in and helping us and changing us, he makes us, and he shines his glory through us and what he wants to do. So I'm going to move on, but just to let you know, that's the whole vision with Exit. Is I came out of Circa, and God changed my life, and now he gave me the vision to come out and do Exit concerts. And I was working with all my friends right here and different artists. We want to come here, and we just, our goal with Exit concerts and whosoever's is we want to represent who we are. When we became Christians, we're not going to cut our hair and change our clothes and start listening to different music and whatever. God, if you follow Jesus Christ, he will come in to your life and he will tell you what you need to not be doing. A year ago, what I was doing to what I'm doing now is different, because each day God's like, Ryan, you don't want to listen to that no more, man. That gets you thinking some other stuff. Or, Ryan, you don't want to be putting yourself in that situation. God tells you, you don't have to change your appearance or have anyone tell you what to do. You just follow Jesus Christ closely and listen for that still voice, and he will show you what you need to do with your life and how you need to be. So that's what's up. I'm going to introduce Sonny next.